Alright, hey, welcome back. A pretty great response so far, in that people seem to be pretty supportive. I was surprised actually that I got, so many likes and reblogs on Tumblr. Speaking of which, I actually got 2 anonymous commenty things, and I will read them right now. Anonymous person 1 asked me, "This was interesting. Can't wait to hear your input on these issues." So actually there were no question marks in that, so he didn't ask me, or they, ooh, I better watch my language there. They did not actually ask me anything. But I'm glad you think this is interesting, and I will do my best to be interesting. And anonymous person number 2 asked me, "How does it feel to be transgender? I know it must be such an annoying question, but this is the first time I've ever seen someone been open about it." My bad. I can't read. That's actually a really difficult question for me to answer. I mean, how does it feel to be anything? I mean, I don't have much to compare it to. I mean, how does it feel to be American? How does it feel to be Jewish? How does it feel to be fairly well off? How does it feel to be a Pokemon fan? I mean, all of these things are part of what I am. I can say that being transgender, like any other identity, I think about it more when I get uncomfortable. I had a Hebrew teacher, who once said, being Jewish is like underpants. You only think about it when it gets tight. So that's sort of how it is. I think transgender, part of what transgender is for me is feeling really, really, really bad in front of public bathrooms and not knowing where to go. Okay, so on that note, today is sort of a quick and dirty guide to transgenderness, at least as far as it relates to me. I'm gonna say this now. I can only speak for myself. I cannot speak for any other transgender person. I cannot speak for any other Asian, Jewish, multiracial, weird, agnostic-ish, high education, creative writing major. Even if there was another person who identified with all the same labels I do, I could not speak for that person. So this is just my experience, and I'm gonna try to do the best I can. So, I mean, the important thing to take from this is we are all people, we are all individual persons, and we are all valid people, and it never is okay to generalize or make assumptions. And I'm going to do that in this video series, and every time I do, please call me out on it, because it's really important not to. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my notes here in a sec. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this is because my mom asked for a quick Trans 101 thing. There are actually a lot of great Trans 101 things just on the internet. There are workshops, in real life, and just get informed. There are a lot of good sites. Yeah, just be good. Okay, so what is transgender? Well, what is anything? It's a label. Right now, it's an umbrella term that refers to anyone whose gender identity or presentation maybe does not fit under standard categories of man and woman. The sort of how I identify as transgender, female to male, is that, the way hospitals work now is that when babies are born, the doctors look at them, well, actually even before they're born, the doctors look at them, see what's between their legs, see how they're developing, and they're like, this baby is a boy, this baby is a girl. Let's give this one a blue blanket and this one a pink blanket. And as great as doctors are, they're not always right. You can't tell how someone feels when they are a baby and cannot talk, and maybe you're forcing this idea of sex on them when they don't feel that way. So it happens that a very small percent of the population doesn't feel like they want a blue or a pink blanket, or they want the pink blanket but they got the blue blanket, or maybe they want a purple blanket, or maybe they want a yellow blanket. And these people all sort of fall under the T in LGBTQ. So they don't always all identify as transgender. There are also genderqueer people, there are butch lesbians, there are a lot of different gender identities. And the important thing is that we respect all of them, and we try to understand them, and we are welcoming and supporting and validating, and make sure they know that it's okay for them to be that way. It's great for them to be that way, and we love them like that. Some people don't feel comfortable with the gender binary at all, like genderqueer people I know often don't like the idea of gender. They're like, no, this doesn't work, not even on a spectrum. Like, maybe I'm outside this idea of man and woman. I'm not even a girly man or a manly woman. I'm outside, and I'm going to use gender-neutral pronouns. And you know what? That's awesome, and I'm going to use the gender-neutral pronouns they like to refer to them and to talk to them and to be really helpful to them. Because I think it's really important that we're all allies of each other. Another thing to keep in mind is that some people transition medically, some people don't, some people do some procedures, some people don't. It doesn't matter, they are still valid in their identity. Gender identity is not sexual preference. My presenting myself and identifying as male does not necessarily mean that I prefer female people, although in my case I do prefer female people. Some transgender people start out as one gender and liking the opposite sex, or liking the same sex. And then when they transition, they switch, and they like the other sex that they previously did not like. People are people, and the important thing to remember is that people are going to be different, people are going to like different things, people are going to have different thoughts, and you just can't assume. You can't look on the street and be like, that person is a girl because they look this, this, and this, and they are wearing this and this. It doesn't work that way. So just don't assume, be validating to people, and everything will go smoothly, hopefully. So moving on to more specific things. Things not to do, or things to do, to make your transgender friends the most comfortable they can be. Don't ask them questions about their body. Their body is their business, it's not yours. It's really not your concern whether or not they're getting surgery or hormones or whatever, unless they're dependents on you, like you're their parents. Like, then it's sort of okay to ask, but only because you're gonna probably be paying for some of that. If you're not paying for that, it's none of your business at all. It's just none of your business. And they might not be comfortable, and you might be like making them feel invalidated, like they have to go on this set path in order to be real, in order to really be a man, or in order to really be a woman, when really all they need to really be is themselves. All I need to be is myself, and whether or not I, bind, whether or not I like get speech training, even whether or not I do hormones or get surgery, I'm still me, and that's what's important. On the other hand, if they want to talk about this stuff, then yeah, talk about it with them. Make them feel comfortable and welcome, and be an open space for them to share these things that they might not get to otherwise share with people, because it might make other people uncomfortable. Be an outlet for them. Be a safe place for them. Be a friend. Be a good brother or sister or mom or dad or partner or non-gendered term. Insert your title here. I know I like talking about this stuff, that's why I do this, and other people might not feel comfortable doing this over the internet, and if you're there to be a safe space for that person, then you're awesome, and I really appreciate you. Also, this is a pet peeve of mine, so I'm going to own it, but other people might feel this way too. Don't tell me how to dress or how to act unless I specifically ask you, does this shirt make me look like a girl? I've had comments that made me feel that I was not enacting manly behavior, but I was just being myself. And look, if some other dude is you know, maybe using effeminate hand gestures, like, they don't always get called out on it. I don't feel like it's anybody's place to call anybody out on being themselves. And don't invalidate me, please. Like, I try really hard, and it's more important to me to be myself. Like, the whole point of coming out as transgender was to be more myself. It's not about being the butchest, manliest, most stereotypical dude in the world. Like, I still don't like sports, come on. I still don't drink beer that often. I do sometimes. So another thing not to do is don't out people, especially if you haven't asked them how they would feel about being outed. This is especially relevant around like family gatherings, because you sometimes can't get away from your family as much as you can get away from your friends sometimes. You're kind of stuck with them. It's sort of complicated because people will want to like make people comfortable when they're around them, and if you're trying to be supportive of your friend and your friend's identity, you're going to want to like use the right pronouns. But if they're not out to like their grandma and you're visiting their grandma and you're referring to them as he and the grandma's like, what? Then it might get a little tricky. Leave it up to the person. Use gender-neutral pronouns or avoid gendered language if you're really not sure and you don't want to make a mistake. But really the best thing to do is to ask the person. The person that you are not sure what pronouns you should be using, not the grandma, because then you're outing them, and that's not cool. In situations where the transgender friend is out to the world, like me, use the right pronouns, use the right names. Don't call me she. It's very hurtful and upsetting when that happens to me. But that said, the person in question always has the right to decide when and to what extent they are out to whoever. If I'm not feeling safe, I may choose to let people think I'm a girl. And you have to respect that. Don't make me feel like I'm being less of a man if I'm not being out in that situation. There are different kinds of comfort, and sometimes one takes precedence over the other. That's actually all I have to say for right now. I can't think of anything else. Other topics I might be talking about include Halloween, young adult literature. I might do a piece on the Hunger Games. I'm definitely going to do a piece about writing, especially maybe specifically paper writing for those of you who are writing papers right now and maybe need help. And I'm a TA. I've been on both sides of the paper writing experience, and feel free to suggest other topics to me. Hopefully my videos aren't always going to be this long. My camera ran out of memory the first time I did it, and then I like completely messed up everything. So I will see you guys around. Bye. One more thing. I realized I never mentioned intersex people. That's because I don't know much about what it's like to be intersex. I don't know what the specific issues are for them. Please educate yourselves on this matter. I will educate myself on this matter. But the gender binary is also difficult for intersex people to navigate, and I support their cause, and I hope to be an ally to them too. I didn't mean to exclude them. I just actually like don't know how to best be supportive. So yeah, bye guys.